still is, forming steady hearts in unsteady times, with Pastor John L. Widdifield.
1 Peter 1:24-25 says, "The grass withers and the flower falls, but the word of the Lord remains forever." Peter quotes Isaiah to steady, suffering believers of his time. He says, "All flesh is like grass, and all its glory like the flower of grass. The grass withers and the flower falls, but the word of the Lord remains forever." This is not contempt for human life. It is clarity about human glory. The grass is real. The flower is beautiful. The glory is not imaginary. There are things in this world that truly bloom: strength, beauty, achievement, influence, wealth, intelligence, nations, movements, reputations, institutions, technologies, bodies, voices, seasons of peace. But they're grass. They are flowers of grass. They bloom. They wither. They rise. They fall. They impress. They fade. They appear permanent while they are flourishing, but time exposes them for what they are. Peter is not trying to make believers cynical. Cynicism says nothing matters because everything fades. Scripture says the world matters because everything else fades. That is a very different thing. The fading of the world does not make faith meaningless. It makes faith sane. It reminds the soul not to build its house out of grass and then panic when the weather changes. The flesh is like the grass. This includes the powerful flesh and the weak flesh, the applauded flesh and the ignored flesh, the moral flesh and the immoral flesh, the religious flesh and the secular flesh. Human life in its natural strength does not possess permanence in itself, and all its glory, like the flower of grass. Human glory is often more dangerous than human weakness because glory can imitate permanence. Success can feel eternal while it is blooming. Cultural confidence can feel like truth while it is fashionable. Beauty can feel like identity while it is admired. Influence can feel like authority while the crowd is listening. But the flower falls. This is not cruelty. It is mercy to know it before it happens, isn't it? The soul that expects grass to be eternal will be devastated by every season of life. But the soul that knows the word remains can receive the temporary without worshiping the temporary. Then comes the great contrast. But the word of the Lord remains forever. Not merely longer, forever. The word remains when empires change their banners. The word remains when economies tremble. The word remains when intellectual fashions reverse themselves. The word remains when the crowd changes its definition of virtue. The word remains when the body weakens. The word remains when memory fails. The word remains when institutions disappoint. The word remains when the flower falls. This is the interior movement from the fading world to the enduring word. The unsteady heart clings to what is fading and then feels betrayed when it fades. The steady heart receives created things gratefully, but refuses to make them ultimate. It knows the difference between gift and foundation. A family is a gift, but the word remains. A nation, a gift. The word remains. Health. Health is a gift, but the word remains. Work is a gift, but the word remains. Opportunity is a gift, but the word remains. Human approval is not even always a gift, and still the word remains. Peter says, and this word is the good news that was preached to you. The remaining word is not an abstraction. It is the gospel. It is the announcement of Christ crucified and risen. It is the living and abiding word by which God causes his people to be born again. That means our hope is not merely that Scripture as text outlasts history, though it does. Our hope is that the God who speaks has given us life through his enduring word. We are not steadied by permanence as an idea. We are steadied by the Lord who speaks forever. The grass withers, the flower falls. The word remains. And if the word remains, the people born of that word are not fools for trusting it. The age is full of confident flowers. Technologies bloom and announce that they will remake humanity. Ideologies bloom and announce that they have finally solved morality. Movements bloom and announce that history has turned a corner. Economies bloom and announce that growth will continue. Powers bloom and announce that they are inevitable. Influencers bloom and announce that they are important. Experts bloom and announce that the old wisdom has expired. Some of these flowers are beautiful for a moment. Some of those flowers are poisonous. Some are useful. Some are absurd. But all of them are flowers of grass. The Christian does not need to despise every bloom, but the Christian must not be deceived by the blooming. A thing can be impressive and still be temporary. A thing can be popular and still be false. A thing can be powerful and still be fading away. A thing can dominate the hour and still not remain. This is why the people of God must not let the age decide what is permanent. The age is always overconfident about its own moment. It assumes that what is new is strong, that what is loud is real, that what is widely adopted is wise, and that what is old has been overcome. But the church has lived long enough to watch many certainties rot. The word remains, not because men protect it perfectly, not because institutions carry it faithfully in every generation, not because culture approved it, not because it was fashionable. The word remains because God remains. And this gives the believer a strange freedom. We can live faithfully in temporary conditions without being terrified by their temporary nature. We can work, we can build, we can preach, parent, serve, and endure without ever pretending that our visible moment is eternal. We can let the flower be the flower. We can let the grass be grass. We can stop demanding permanence from things God never made permanent. The world becomes less frightening when it is no longer treated as everlasting. The word becomes more precious when the flowers begin to fall. The grass withers, the flower falls. The word remains forever.